Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second episode of Crafting in Quarantine. My name is Dabney. I'm the young adult librarian at the Twin Lakes Library System. So today's craft, we are going to be tying in with National Poetry Month, which is what April is. If you're sitting there and you're worried because you don't like poetry, please stick with us because you might actually come to enjoy this craft. So it's kind of what you make of it. And I'll just go ahead and say when I was in high school, I was a poetry nerd. And so I was one of the emo kids who had my notebook and I was always scribbling some feelings and sketching. So I really enjoyed doing this craft today and kind of getting out those feels. So it was very therapeutic. Alright, so our crafts, we are going to be making a blackout poem and a poetry collage. So for those, you just need a few things that hopefully you can find around your house. For your blackout poem, you're going to need a page of text. So you can get an old magazine, newspaper, maybe like an old worksheet from like a school project that you know you're not going to need anymore. You could use that. I didn't really have very much to work with here, but I used this publication. And for your poetry collage, you'll need a little bit more. Again, you'll need some kind of magazine, newspaper that you can cut words out of. So again, I didn't have a lot to work with, but I had this Georgia magazine that came in the mail, and it was actually perfect. You'll need scissors, you'll need glue, and I think I forgot to say for the blackout poem, you'll need like a Sharpie, a marker, a pen, and you might need a pencil. So that's kind of all you need to do this. And we're going to start with a blackout poem. So if you've never done one of those before, I'm just going to walk you through it. So as I was flipping through this very academic magazine, I was wondering, what am I going to find that's going to be kind of fun and relevant? And you know what? Weirdly enough, this 2016 magazine had an article about online gaming, specifically a game called Pandemic, which now I'm really kind of curious about checking out. So I saw that, I just was scanning through, saw the words like saving the world and pandemic, and thought, yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So when you're doing this, you're kind of reducing like a bunch of text down to words, and those words are going to form your poem. So for this one, I didn't even read the article. I just skimmed it and thought, what words jump out to me? And I underlined them. So you don't have to keep all of those words because I certainly didn't. And then after I underlined them, I read it out loud to kind of get a feel what is this poem? So I'm going to read you what I came up with. It's not the best poem of all time, but here we go. It's called Saving the World. Pandemic, a world problem. CDC, looking for a cure, treating, working, developing, strategy, cooperation, cure. I don't know, if you read it with a poetry voice, sounds deep. So, that's the bare bones. I'm going to cut out the space around my poem. So I had circled the words in pencil, and then I went through, outlined them in Sharpie, because that's going to tell me what I need to color around. So I'm going to do that real quick. And I think it's kind of sort of fun and therapeutic to do this, to kind of get a Sharpie and black out a bunch of words. There's a book I really like called Vicious, and one of the characters, he does this with his parents' psychology text. If that gives you an idea of his relationship with them. Every time they publish a new book, he gets it and just kind of goes through and methodically blacks out all the lines except for certain words that he wants to keep as he's forming his thoughts. Vicious, by the way, is not really a teen book. I'd say older teens, definitely go for it. So while I'm doing this, I'm also going to tell you, if you need to get in the vibe to think about poetry, to write poetry, please check out our digital resources. Hoopla, RB Digital, they have poetry sections you can browse. Also, I posted on Instagram yesterday, but there are lots of young adult novels in verse on there. So I think a lot of people might be familiar with like Ellen Hopkins. Her books are on both apps. Elizabeth Acevedo, who Abby talked about on Monday, her book The Poet X is on there. So yeah, just check out some of those. Check out some poetry. Go on YouTube. See if there's like any poets who are reading their work out loud, or even celebrities reading other people's poetry. I know like on Twitter and Instagram, lots of writers and poets are, making videos and sharing their work. Oh, Brittany, sorry, you asked who the author of Vicious is. It's V.E. Schwab. So she writes like young adult, and middle grades recently. She's very prolific. She's also goes by Victoria Schwab, and I highly recommend y'all check out her work if you haven't. But yeah, going back to poets, I read recently that Patrick Stewart is on Instagram posting videos of him reading Shakespeare sonnets, and I'm like, I gotta check that out. I love Patrick Stewart. For those of you, hopefully y'all know him. He's all in Star Trek, and also is a Shakespearean actor. He's really great. He was Professor X in the X-Men movies, the original ones. Okay, that took longer than I thought. Thank you for bearing with me. Here is my Blackout poem. It's so small. Sorry, I'm filming on like 2 different things right now, so there you go. Alright, that's Blackout Poetry. That took a while, but I'm gonna jump right into my poetry collage. So, like I said, I cut all these words and phrases out of this magazine. I just went through, tore out all the pages, and cut out any words that were in a slightly larger font. So if you're on Instagram, you can see here I have these letters that I cut out. Letters, words, phrases, anyways. And when I did that, I sorted all of my words into categories, into like adjectives and nouns and verbs and like linking words. And I didn't have a plan going into this really. I was just like, I'm gonna see what happens, which, it's kind of poetry and writing. Sometimes you're just going with what you feel, which is sort of how I create. And this is my finished product. I had a lot of fun doing this. So the first word that jumped out to me was gentle. And I really liked that word, so I set it aside. And then I saw leaves and thought gentle leaves. Other words were like sticking out that had a nature vibe, springtime flowers, gardens. So I was just pulling those words aside and making phrases and sentences. Then I saw the word kudzu, and I was like, oh yeah, we've got to have kudzu in this. If y'all don't know, kudzu is that green vine that takes over in the summer. And there's actually a really good poem called Kudzu by James Dickey, so you should read that after this is over. But yeah, So my first couple lines, I'm just going to read. So, springtime flowers and gentle leaves foster in Georgia gardens, not unstoppable kudzu in farm and field, crushing empty cars, tires, junk, and green steel. So you've got the contrast between, your cultivated gardens that, we have control over, and then you have the chaotic kudzu coming in and just doing whatever it wants. Brittany said it's invasive. Yes, it is invasive. Wasn't a good idea. And that kind of got my brain spinning in like a different direction, like away from kind of tranquil nature to like, oh my gosh, out of control kudzu. And I saw the words like time and history and permanency, and that just got my brain thinking. So I was pulling those words aside, and so I kind of transitioned from talking about kudzu taking over. So I said, as time demolishes concrete giants, history, permanency, this month, currently ongoing, what is time? A feeling, a running tragedy, celebration, lasting beyond our hearts, our forever outlook not possible to guess. So, as you can tell, I just started kind of doing this spiral about sort of everything that's going on, thinking about time, how these 3.5 months feel like they've lasted years. And then at the same time, a lot of us are at home, we're working at home, we're doing school at home, and sometimes it feels like time is passing slowly, or we want it to speed up, we want to be beyond this moment, and we kind of also lose track of time. You might just wake up and be like, ugh, what am I going to do all day? I don't have my structure of like, wake up, go to school, go to sports, do this, do that, do homework, go to bed. Without that structure, it does feel very chaotic, and it's hard to find your balance. So that's kind of what I was thinking about writing that part of the poem. And then our forever outlook not possible to guess. I mean, that kind of sounds like I'm Yoda, but again, that's just kind of using the words that were available to me. But it takes a turn, because I said freeze. Find a handful of minutes, start cultivating stories, paint your hopes, realize your success, hustle, participate, help. You are never alone. Just, getting a different perspective. We're all going through like a pretty tough time right now. And while things are kind of scary out there, it's important to just stop and step away if you can and kind of get a different perspective. Do something else. Make some art, read a book, read a poem, listen to music, play a game, go for a walk. Just get out of that spiral and realize that, you aren't alone. Like, we might feel alone, we might feel isolated, but it is kind of something we're all going through together. And, there's still ways to connect online and be part of a community. If you're watching this video either live or later, then yeah, we're connecting and we're making a community here. So, all that to say, that is my poetry collage, and hopefully you all can make something, cool. If you do, please post it and tag us so we can see it. And if you want to interact with our videos by leaving likes or comments, that always makes me happy to see that, and then I like to engage with you as well. But yeah, I think that's kind of it for the poetry. If you have questions, you can always let me know. If you want some poetry recommendations, I'm always happy to do what I can. And to remind you, Friday, Abby's going to be doing our Slice of Life program on Instagram Live at 3:30, and she's going to be talking about tips to study and do school from home. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining. Hopefully we'll have this up on IGTV and Facebook later. There's been some technical issues with our last 2 videos of them not saving, so everyone cross your fingers and toes that this will save. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye!